Let's ask the man who made headlines nationwide at the prayer breakfast when he had the courage to speak his mind. No one was expecting this to happen, and he did. It's Dr. Benjamin Carson, the author of America the Beautiful, Rediscovering What Made This Nation Great. Dr. Carson, we are honored to have you on the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Now, I understand that you just came out of a surgery to talk to us.
Actually, I'm just getting ready to go into one.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well,
being prepped.
We want to use your time wisely because we don't want anything to happen to your patient. And, of course, Obama will probably blame it on the sequester if something goes wrong. So I want to ask you this because we talk about it a lot on this show. The cultural battles, the policy fights. What do you think America is becoming when you look at all this back and forth and you read the headlines? You've been a careful observer of this. What do you think that this country is becoming?
Well, we're gradually moving from a country for, of, and by the people to a country for, of, and by the government. This was exactly what the founders of the nation feared, and that's the reason that the Constitution was put together as it was. But as we move further and further away from the Constitution, we move closer and closer to what they feared.
Now, you know that America has endured a civil war, several economic crises, 2 world wars, horrible outbreaks of disease. These are hardships that we've had to face. What kind of hardships do you think in the future that this country needs to be prepared to face? Is it a breakdown of the family even further that we've seen? Is it more economic hardship caused by arguably a breakdown of the family?
Well, we have both of those things, and they're both equally dangerous. It's very difficult for any other power to overcome America. We are extraordinarily strong militarily, very much like the Romans were. But it's very easy for us to destroy ourselves from within economically, and that's what the Romans did. And, all we have to do is read what happened. We don't have to repeat the same mistakes that other people have made. As far as the cultural issues are concerned, that's where PC comes into place. Political correctness has placed a damp blanket over our conversation, and people are afraid to talk about what they really believe because they're afraid they'll be labeled something. And the media, unfortunately, has played a significant role in enforcement of political correctness, but we need to recognize that one of the pillars of our foundation was freedom of speech and freedom of expression. And if we allow ourselves to be shut up while the cultural underpinnings of society are eroded, then we will get what we deserve.
Dr. Carson, I want to go back to that point about freedom of expression and freedom of speech and speaking and not being afraid to speak your mind. Chris Christie is as you know, Republican politician who has not been afraid to speak his mind. And he has not been invited to speak at CPAC. Also, groups like GOProud, Log Cabin Republicans, groups that advocate on behalf of gays and lesbians, they've been shut out this year at CPAC. And so the Republican Party is having its own intra-party or family dispute about this. Who do you think is right in this? Do you think we need to extend and have a more tolerant approach? Or should CPAC just, not invite anyone that they don't think aligns with their beliefs? What do you think is the best thing for the party?
Well, I'll tell you the way I personally would look at it. There are some very crushing issues right now which need to be dealt with first. The ship is about to go off the cliff, and we need to engage in those things that turn it around. Then afterwards, we can get the barnacles off of it. So, I think that the focus needs to be on the economy and getting that straightened out, because that's what threatens to destroy our nation right now, and not allow to be drawn off into peripheral issues. And I'm not saying that the cultural issues aren't important, but they would become virtually irrelevant if the country is destroyed.
So, Dr. Carson, if we take what you say, and I agree with what you say, and we focus on the economy because it's the number one issue, then these groups, GOProud and Log Cabin Republicans and Chris Christie, who has stood up to the unions in his own state, then they should arguably be allowed to speak at CPAC, because what unites us, our beliefs on the economy, should be greater than what divides us. So do you
Absolutely.
think CPAC is making a bit of a mistake there by excluding people who believe what they believe?
You need to make the tent as big as you possibly can and focus on the things that are important. There'll be plenty of time to focus on the other issues later, but there'll be no time to focus on them if we get to a place where it doesn't matter.
I think that's such a very poignant statement and a great way to end this segment. We absolutely have to have a bigger tent and focus on the priorities, because they just want us to shoot inside the tent, and we got to stop doing that and focus on what we do agree on and what unites us. Dr. Benjamin Carson, author of America the Beautiful, Rediscovering What Made This Nation Great. Dr. Carson is a professor of neurosurgery, plastic surgery, oncology, and pediatrics. Geez, anything else, Dr. Carson? Why are you such an underachiever?
I just wanted to end by saying I'm sure that those who are the opponents of CPAC are very happy for the infighting.
Yeah, I'm sure that they are, and we don't want to give them that excuse. You're right, Doctor, to be happy for us. You can follow the doctor on Twitter at @RealBenCarson. Good luck in your surgery. We've got to let you go. I know you actually do have lives to save, so thank you so much.
All righty, bye-bye.